Well, let's start with wishing our gymnastics team good luck tonight in the NCAA championships. Wrapped up practice 14 today. We will get some work done on Saturday. A little bit of scrimmaging, a little bit of practicing, but really feel good about the work that we've gotten done over the last 5 weeks. Guys stayed into it, continue to work, and so kind of wrap things up Saturday. We will have kind of turn it into family day, and so a bunch of families coming back, watching a little bit, and then breaking bread together after practice and mingling with them. So I think it's a great way for us, at least finishing as a program. The 2 scrimmages, I haven't talked to you since the last one. You know, we got a lot of work done, close to 95 snaps there. Last Saturday defensively was, as a whole, felt pretty good. The tackling, the effort, making it hard on the defense. The offense picked it up toward the end of the thing in the red zone, but feel pleased with kind of that second scrimmage, getting a bunch of work for a lot of guys and evaluation, and guys getting better and feel good there. You know, it's a critical part. You think about spring practice, critical part is kind of transitioning of program, guys improving, diving in the summer. We're gonna have a big time summer. And all of that, getting ready for August camp already with that. Do want to mention, speaking of August, that we're going to kind of bring back Meet the Spartans event in August. Looking forward to August 21st to do that, leading into our first home game. I learned a little bit of some of the tradition of that and meeting our group, so more to come on the exact details of that, but we were trying to bring that back in August on the 21st. With that, how about some questions?
Is there one area you think you've seen the most growth from your team in these first 14, and maybe one area that you peg for being the biggest, which you got to really address summer fall?
Yeah, I think a couple things stand out. I think some of our coverage, in man coverage, we've taken a step there in regards to man-to-man, keeping hands on and a limited amount of separation. We've liked the progress we've made that in that area. I think offensively, the line of scrimmage has been more physical, and you somewhat anticipate that year 2, second year in the scheme. Obviously, some of the additions creating that competition there, but line of scrimmage and playing some man coverage, we've been pleased with that progress.
Where do you feel you're at on both sides of the ball? Where you like it? Are you far enough ahead, or do you feel like you're behind?
We don't feel drastically behind. You're always feeling like you always want to, improve, and that's what spring ball is like. Some of these guys that were maybe 2s, 3s last year, have they taken a step enough in their game to be in the 2-deep travel roster? Feel like awesome about putting them on the field, and we've made progress there. We do feel good that we got a chance to be better. Now, no guarantees of that, and there's still some work to be done. But yeah, we feel. As a staff, we were just talking about the other day of, year 1 to year 2, there's a lot of areas we've made some serious progress.
Jonathan, how have the offensive and defensive lines improved from the end of last year, and the new guys specifically who stood out to you?
Yeah, I think, on the offensive side, Matt, coming in, and the center pieces are huge, and the communication. Connor's done a really nice job on the edge offensively. The way we like to run the ball, the edge is an important piece. Those 2 guys have stood out and helped us. I think defense, I think about the interior D-line, I feel similar to last year in regards to how many guys we can play at the D-line. There's 6, 7 guys that we feel confident can contribute. I think both sides, you look at the weight room, strength, size, that has taken a step, and so we feel good about that progress.
Do you expect you might add another body in either of those areas? Is that possible?
It's possible. The portal is open, and so things. Should have mentioned next week, sitting down with each individual player, right? They'll get with their position coach, and then I will get the opportunity to meet with each player throughout the following week or 2. And, we feel good about where we're at, but if there's opportunity to improve some depth, we won't hesitate to do that.
Outside of the last year, the running backs was pretty young.
Yeah.
How do you expect them to sort of go into the summer, keep building on this moment? Guys have to learn that.
Yeah, they do, because 4 of those guys are either in year 1 or year 2. I think we've got some talent in there. This spring ball was really good for that group. A lot of carries, a lot of reps, a lot of things to learn, and they got to continue that momentum into the summer. With Elijah's played more, but this is still new to his game in regards to the scheme and things. And that group's progressed. It's pretty competitive. I like the multiple guys in that room can catch the ball out of the backfield. We're also asking them in the protection things to not only be able to block them, but identify who they're supposed to block, and they've done better this back half of spring ball in that area.
When you talk about the portal, I know things are fluid, at least right now. Are there any positions or areas which you're thinking that you're going to be able to address?
You know, we're honestly, you got to be looking at really all spots, because you don't know until, you know, whatever, in 10 days from now exactly what you've got. But I think on both sides, edge of the defense would be in that, you know, maybe would be looking at that area. I think about the secondary in general. You're playing 5 guys a lot of the time, and so having enough depth there. Those two stand out defensively. I think offensively, again, health coming out of this thing pretty healthy. But you know, we had that tight end position, depth in that room. So that's a consideration. I don't want to jump, but we'll see how it goes.
How does the changing roster rules maybe fit Spanish? I mean, that's something I would imagine the portal. It's not like you're going to be able to add bodies otherwise, right?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, once we get final exactly on what, you know, the roster, we're anticipating 105 is what, you know, but that's not final, but we've been making plans on that. And so, you imagine managing around that number, and then it breaks down per position and who you keep and who's continuing to develop. I don't see a mass exodus, and so a mass need to bring a ton in.
How's Aiden different from a year ago?
Well, it starts physically, heavier, stronger, faster. Second year going through the install of this, the scheme with the experience that he had. I think there's growth and maturity that's come there. I think the addition of John Boyer has, helped his game in some details and really drilling down on some of his technique. I think he's getting pushed. Alessio has had a really nice spring, made a lot of good throws, and he's taken a step in his game. So, those ways, I think he's different.
What impresses you about Tolliver, and how many running backs would you like to play?
I always like to play multiple, like 3. I'm talking about in the season, to the wear and tear and the load and all of that. And so that's the target. With really, we got 5 guys currently in there that are competing for those carries.
And what about Tolliver? How has he impressed you?
He's done a nice job. I think he's picked up the vision of what we're asking him on the wide zone game. Physical runner, can make you miss out in space, catches the ball pretty decent out of the backfield. That's been impressive.
Are you operating under the assumption that the rev share will be in place July 1st when you're dealing with NIL and everything else? Is that sort of the presumption?
Presumption, yes. Yeah, we are.
Offers and everything,
Yeah, we are. And I haven't heard breaking news today that's final yet, but we're anticipating here. We'll have some clarity hopefully in the next week or whatever that timeline is.
Is it difficult? Has it been difficult at all to deal with the portal or deal with transfer, deal with anything with that? You're building a roster at the moment that's still being finalized.
Yeah, it's not easy, but you got to kind of anticipate, and this has been the plan to discuss for a while now, and so that's how you made plans, and you try to be as transparent as possible with our own players, but in the portal and conversations of this is what we anticipate taking place.
Jonathan, how difficult is it for a coach with having to raise the money you need to do, and how much of your time is involved in that?
You try to use your time on what's best for the program, and so that's always been a thing in coaching and the fundraising side. And I do feel like we're at a competitive place here, and really appreciate Spartan Nation with all the support we continue to get. So part of my role is to help in that area.
You had said part of the reason you didn't have a spring game was to utilize all 15 practices. Have you seen that play out? Is that proven to be beneficial? And do you feel?
Yeah, again, some of the logic was how you're going to use kind of the week leading into the spring game, and the work we've gotten done today, Tuesday, is a little bit different because we're not having a big old game like that. I've liked it, like I mentioned, 14, what we've gotten done in these 14 days. Feel really targeted about what we'll do on Saturday, along with having the families around and so I feel good about it.
How different do you feel, having done this a whole year in place, about just sort of what the roster looks like, assuming it's similar to what it is now, going in? Like, how comfortable do you feel in terms of ability to compete and all that versus where you were a year ago?
I definitely feel more comfortable, just confident in knowing the roster is so much better, right? You get the full calendar year of these guys, the schematics, right? We're not wholesale changing offense, defense, special teams, been able to kind of recruit to the schemes, feel way better that we're in a better place in year 2 than year 1. A lot of it, just the way we're practicing, culture, expectations, all that's been established. And so it does. I think we've made some real strides from year 1 to year 2.
14 practices, scrimmage snaps. Seen a lot of this team. What position do you think is the deepest?
Deepest, yeah. I mean, inside linebacker, we've got a lot of guys that can play at a high level in that room. They stand out, and it's great because they can stay fresh and all that. We get some leaders in that room, inside backer. We've got some depth there. The receiver thing, we got 6 new guys in there, and they are new, but I think what we've kind of complemented that receiver room, we got multiple guys we feel good about putting in the game, and that'll be pretty competitive come August for the amount of snaps in that room.
I'm sure we really talk a lot about it, but Schickel's injury at the end of last year, how has he come along with the tackle?
Very confident he will be back. He hadn't done much here spring ball and all that. Some of that is just risk reward. So I think he could be full goal like today, but he hasn't done much in the spring. So counting on him having a great summer.
I'm sure you'd like to get better in every area, but if there was one where you knew that spring and summer leading into fall would improve significantly, what would make you feel the best?
Yeah, I think all the way down to the detail of the red zone play. I think about us offensively, coming off last year, opportunities we didn't score as many touchdowns as we wanted to. That has taken a step in this spring, taking care of the ball. I think they've done a nice job. Now, again, spring ball, you're not live tackling all the time, but our ball security and keeping the thing locked up, we have to take a step there. And again, 14 days of spring ball, I think we have.
When you look at Saturday, are you asking them to sort of peak, like in terms of intensity, like empty the tank, we got one more of these things, or is that maybe sort of happened and now it's kind of a downslope to
Yeah.
soft?
I wouldn't describe it as peak for this Saturday. Peak was really those 2 scrimmages, and they were well. I mean, we didn't scrimmage until I think it was practice 9 leading into that, and then quick turnaround, and the next Saturday did it. So peak, it'll be intense on Saturday. It just won't be for 2.5 hours.
Couple more for Coach.
Yeah. Last year had some trouble with allowing tackles for loss in the run game.
Yeah.
Holchick was talking about that last week. In the scrimmages, have you seen some progress with that? I know the interior defense might be ahead of the offense in the spring, but
I would say progress for tackles for loss. That way, we're not getting a ton of the 3-4 yard loss. I will give some credit defensively, though they made it hard. We haven't gotten a ton of the 7-8 yard gain the way our defense is played. And there's always going to be some back and forth. I think some of the tackle for loss, too, is making sure we're on the same page with proper technique, and we're light years ahead from last year.
and I would imagine some of that being on the same page is knowledge of the system and being comfortable with it, I would imagine.
Yeah, second year doing it. Because, we got some new faces. We got a lot of them that have been in the system now. And I think we did a nice job leading into spring ball with some of what we were going to emphasize. And so what we got emphasized through 14 days currently, you can see it on the tape.
And how's Connor Moore doing with some of the wide zone stuff? You guys
Liked it. Athlete. Still, working out because it's a little bit different than what he'd been doing the previous couple of years. But he has plenty of flashes out there. How competitive, athletic he is. I think he's doing great.
And with Jones going to the portal, we probably saw that coming.
Yeah, this day and age, and so that's what we're working with. He hadn't done much in the spring anyway, so it's been nice to have other guys getting opportunities because he hadn't been participating. In regards to reps.
It feels like Jordan Hall is taking a sort of leadership role in that linebacker room.
Yep.
Experience and training, but even his candidates are for a counting punch for the second guy in your linebacker.
Besides Jordan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we got, Wayne has been kind of out this spring, but he'll be right back and ready to go. He'd be another. Brady Pretzloff's had a good spring. Marcella's been flying around, doing good things. I even get to Samaj and Darius Snow. We've got multiple guys in that room. We feel good. They can play and have a voice. Jordan's voice has continued to echo, though, I will say, through this spring ball.
I don't know if we'll see you again. Any new injuries from this spring that may affect
Nothing.
start of camp?
Oh, start of camp.
Anything that's popped up this spring that we didn't know about, before? That
Right.
bleed over?
Aiden West, I can see being limited early in camp. He was having a nice spring, but needed to get kind of something just tightened up, fixed. But that might have him limited. I wish I would have brought there's nothing major that we're saying, okay, this guy's out for multiple games or anything. Of course, we'll find out too. All these guys will do the exit evals, physical. Yeah, he might be the only one that to start August be in some type of limited fashion.
Did you say you'll be doing a little bit of scrimmaging on Saturday?
A little bit, yep.
How many snaps?
Well, we haven't tightened it to discuss, but probably closer to the 50 mark than,
50?
yeah.
So that's a significant day of work coming up Saturday.
Yeah, like I said, we're not just we're gonna get some work done, but normal scrimmages, we'd be closer to double that.
The number of scholarship guys you had this spring, somewhere around 65 to 70, maybe even 69, somewhere in there. Is that enough to roll a couple of offensive lines so you can get that helps with?
We felt
scrimmaging?
like, yeah, on the old line side, we've been rolling 3 groups, and we've got actually a couple extra of the 15. And so, because we got a couple guys that are not on scholarship, they're doing some nice things contributing there.
That enables you to have extended scrimmaging.
Right. Yeah. That every position really you need to have enough depth to do the extended amount.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay, guys. Thank you.